I find it quite interesting now that The Rise of Skywalker has finished production. We are starting to get some juicy little bits of information from the actors about how they actually feel about The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, and the sequel trilogy in general. We've heard things from John Boyega, we've heard things from Mark Hamill, and now we are hearing some things from Daisy Ridley, and this is really interesting, so we're going to be jumping into this right now. So, Daisy Ridley on Rian Johnson's Star Wars The Last Jedi Backlash. I wasn't surprised, which is really interesting to hear. So we're going to be getting more into what she actually says here. Shout out to Abounding to Comics. Thank you for covering this story. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker actress Daisy Ridley, who plays Rey, recently revealed that she was not surprised by the backlash to Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. Ridley sat down for an interview with the USA Today where she was asked if she was surprised by the backlash and controversy surrounding Johnson's The Last Jedi. Ridley responded, "I wasn't surprised, no, it's just a different thing." She would go on to add that she believes the backlash is fair as well. Everyone's going to have an opinion now anyway on the internet, but I also think it's fair. If people hold something incredibly dear and think they know how it should be and it's not like that, it's fair for people to think they were done wrong. Holy smoke. So, we have here an actress who has, for the most part, a pretty common sense attitude toward The Last Jedi. What is this? Is this, am I still in reality right now, or is this like an alternate version of Hollywood, or what? This is pretty interesting stuff. This might just be maybe Daisy Ridley. It just isn't tainted by the woke agendas of Hollywood yet. Who knows? But this is really interesting. So she's basically saying, you know what? It's the internet. Everyone's going to have a different opinion because that's what people are. Everyone has a different opinion from everyone else about at least something. No two people are alike. There's always going to be different opinions, and that's okay. It's fair. It's fair. People are allowed to have different opinions. Not everyone has to like the movie. So, just because it's a Disney movie, just because it's a Star Wars movie, doesn't mean that it has to just get blind praise from everyone. That's just not how it works, Especially for people who aren't shills. Of course, it makes sense for the shills because they want to get their credits, they want to get their money, they want to get their little brownie points with Disney. But for the fans who expect to receive one type of product and then they don't get that type of product, it makes sense that they wouldn't be happy, because that's what happens when you have customers who aren't happy with a product. For the most part, I am usually forgiving with filmmakers when they have creative decisions that make sense for the story still. It's totally fine for filmmakers to do whatever they want with the story creatively, in my opinion. I don't have a problem with that, but it has to be well done. It has to be a well-told story still. It has to make sense. And there's a lot of things in The Last Jedi that are just crappy storytelling elements. I mean, Canobite, like I keep saying, is one of the worst subplots I've ever seen in a movie. There's tons of other things in that movie that's just terrible. From the character development to plot elements to all of that type of stuff. So it's not just like we are upset about the movie because we don't like the creative decisions that they made. We're upset with the movie because it's a crap movie and it has a lot of problems. It has a lot of issues. It is indeed, objectively, in my opinion, a crap movie. You can subjectively like it if you want, but it's a terrible movie. The writing is horrible. The writing is absolutely horrible. So, yeah. So, she would add the caveat. It doesn't mean they were ultimately Rian's a filmmaker and one person can't dictate how a film is supposed to be, but freedom of expression, sure. Now, that's great. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression is a really important thing, and that is something that we need to continually fight for, continually praise and stuff, because that is the most important thing. People should be allowed to say whatever they want. People should be allowed to express whatever they want. And I think that's really important. So, we already know about all the statistics about The Last Jedi and how terrible it was, so I'm not going to go heading into any of this, but this is a really, really different take than compared to like what Rian Johnson has said. This is like pretty astounding. This is like night and day compared to how Rian Johnson has been treating fans this entire time. So that's good to hear. It's awesome to see that these actors are starting to actually speak out about how they truly feel about the movie, which is great. So that's awesome. Well done on Daisy Ridley for that. That's not the first time that we've had something really awesome come from Daisy Ridley. She basically threw the whole Reylo thing under the bus, which was fantastic as well. That was great. So, well done on Daisy Ridley. Continue this up, and you will continue to have support from the fans and stuff, And it's not Daisy Ridley's fault that Rey was terribly written in The Last Jedi. It's not her fault at all. It's not her fault that Rey is such a terrible Mary Sue character. So I don't think that we should blame Daisy Ridley for that. That is the fault of the writers, not Daisy Ridley. And Daisy Ridley seems like that she actually has a pretty level-headed mentality when it comes to all this type of stuff. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about what Daisy Ridley said? What do you think about her comments? With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you all very soon in another video. Talk to you later. Bye.